Hi there out in Facebook land, Grant Schofield here, and welcome to Precure Live. And I thought I'd come down to the beach. I've walked down here as part of my exercise and record down here today. It's a beautiful autumn's day down on Tairua Beach on New Zealand's beautiful Coromandel Peninsula, where we live, and we're hunkered down in a beautiful place, so good for me. Hope everyone out there is safe and well, and you've got good places to walk as well. Hey, today, this week actually has been a massive week for me, and scientific debate and emerging data and whatnot, and there's been diverging opinions out there from you, all of you people on Precure, so thank you for your different views, from me, from the scientific community, and from the government. And so I've got 4 questions for you today, and I'll give you some of my opinion and some of the unknowns, and you can give me your opinion as well. The first is around scientific debate in uncertain times, especially this in New Zealand as a national emergency and is really a worldwide emergency, because there's divergent opinions here around robust scientific debate in these times. There's a strong view, even within the scientific community, that there should not be such a debate, especially in public. That will confuse the public. We need one message and we should be told what to do. Now, I fundamentally have obviously disagreed with that, and I think in uncertain times like this, especially with evolving data that is happening daily, that robust scientific debate is a crucial part of getting to the best solution for us. Now, that's not shared by my colleagues. There was a letter authored by a professor at the University of Auckland, signed by 65 other academics and scientists, saying there should be no academic debate or scientific debate around the SARS-CoV-2 or the COVID-19 epidemic in this country, especially around how that relates to public policy. That is done. We're on our course and we're dust, and it should not be discussed. Now, I fundamentally disagree with that on every single principle and every bone in my body. But I know not all of you will. So I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about that. I think when the data are uncertain, and we've got, for me, personally, and my family, and for the society that I care about, my belief is that I want the best result possible, and I've got a stake in the game. Now, there's been people saying, well, only infectious disease experts can have a go at that. And again, I fundamentally disagree with that. They should definitely be front and centre of it, but there should be open to all sorts of disciplines and discussions, because ideas come from that mixing of my field, public health. I've heard a Nobel laureate physicist and a Nobel laureate chemist chipping in, and I think that's fair game, and I think the public should chip in. Should we conduct these in public even? Should the public have an opinion? It's democracy. What do you think? Number 2, should there be censorship of any sort by the government in a national emergency? Is there messaging and stuff that the media could print which would be harmful to the people? Well, our government seems to think so. There were some of our medias around Plan B was requested to be removed and was fundamentally changed to have a completely different angle on it. And we weren't the first, because that's happened a number of times over the last few weeks in New Zealand mainstream media. Now, you can see why you might want that. People are printing stuff that actually is going to harm people, inciting activity that might be illegal, these sorts of things. Is there ever a time for censorship in the media? Now, initially, I thought this was a complete no-brainer until I thought about it a bit more. I was thinking, well, perhaps the freedom of the media is a sacrosanct thing in a democracy, and they should be able to print whatever they like. But they don't actually print whatever they like, do they? There is restrictions on that and around that. But that line and that line moving are questions that we don't know the answer to. What do you think? Number 3, I want to talk about moral dilemmas. Now, I'd like to tell you about a few normal world moral dilemmas, a few classic ones that you could only hypothetically face, or in fact you could really face. So let's do 3 to start with. You witness a bank robbery. It's a single person. You happen to know them. They get away clean with a good deal of untraceable cash. You know that they're going to spend that cash on helping the poor, and it's particular, it's an orphanage that's going to go under, and they're going to help a couple of hundred kids' lives be much better. Do you dob them in? do you do harm either way? There's benefits and harm both ways, and there's also a legal angle to this, so that's a separate one. I'll give you a real one, which actually happened just out here on Tairua Beach. This can be a heavy surf beach sometime to me. It's a moral dilemma. I was a trained lifeguard. I'm out there with two of the kids on our Saturday morning training program, and it's a big, heavy surf day, and that can be very dangerous here. A massive set comes through, it hits me on the head. I'm struggling to stay afloat, and I'm concerned for myself. I've got swim fins, a wetsuit, and a tube on, so I'm probably going to float to the surface and get there. The two boys I'm with don't. They're just in shorts, and they're struggling. If I don't do something, they will be in serious trouble. I've got one tube, and I can help one boy. So what do I do? Do I help neither? Do I try and help both and put both of their lives at risk, or help one? So I was put in the situation where I could only help one. Luckily, someone else actually managed to get out and grab the other boy. That's a moral dilemma. The classic moral dilemma is a train track dilemma. You're a train driver and you've got a controller and it's switching tracks, and you notice that your train is running away out of control. On one line is 5 men working on the rail tracks, and if you carry on through there, you'll run them over and kill them. On the other train track is a mother with 2 young children, and if you veer that way, you'll run them over and kill them. Which side do you choose? There's no answer to that, of course, and it's hypothetical. I'm not sure that's ever actually happened. But it leaves us to ponder the moral dilemmas of today. And there's much discussion about this, isn't there? About what a life is worth, what a life now from COVID-19 is worth versus a life in 6 months from cancer or undone surgery or economic collapse and unemployment and the suicides that you expect to see normally under those conditions. Those are moral dilemmas that we're facing as society, and I don't know what the answer to those moral dilemmas are. We've questioned them this week, and that questioning has brought out some interesting responses. One thing I've learnt, or 2 things I've learnt actually from this particular moral dilemma, in my field, which is really non-communicable disease, we're always saying behaviour change is hard. It's so hard to get people to change their behaviour. Well, guess what? In communicable disease, it doesn't seem to be. There's a fundamental gut different reaction we seem to have from catching a virus and it causing our death than we do from dying of, say, cancer or heart disease, which may be years in the future. And that's different. I don't know why that's different. Do you think those things are different? And if so, why? And should they be treated differently by society? Should we weigh those costs and benefits differently? And what should they be? And finally, what are we optimising for here? What do we want in our society? And this is a question that I've been pondering over the last couple of weeks, and perhaps you have in the lockdown as well, which is more around, this has been a chance to reset and rethink about the sort of society we want, both now and how we approach this emergency and what we prioritise, and in the future, what's important. And I think it's become obvious to me that having some time in your day to get out and do some exercise with your family, with other people, and just by yourself sometimes is something I think I'll try and keep optimising for. To buy less stuff. I'm prone to getting onto some of these, particularly these websites, and doing a little online shopping and coming out with quite a lot of clutter. Do I need those? Am I trying to optimise for that? Or am I trying to optimise for time? Am I trying to optimise for wealth and money? How much do I need? And those are questions for you in the future as well, and now, as we make decisions as a society. So those are my 4 questions for you. I'd love to hear what you've got to say about that. My last message to you in this time is I think it's important you have an opinion on stuff, especially this stuff. Now, it won't be the same as mine. In fact, it almost certainly won't be the same as mine. We'll have different opinions, and that's okay. I'd prefer you had evidence for your opinion. Now, evidence will mean different things to different people, and they'll make what they can of it. But I'd also ask you, when you have an opinion, and this is the scientific process really, which is supposed to work, in reality it often doesn't work, I would ask you to listen to new evidence, and you can make what you like of it. But sometimes, particularly now, new evidence keeps coming along, and you're forced to reconsider your original hypotheses about the state of the world and what might be the best thing, to change your opinion. I was debating a scientist on the radio on Friday, and one negative point he made about it, he said, you've been wrong before, and you've changed your mind before. Those were barbs in the debate against me. Frankly, I took them as compliments, because I think scientists are always wrong. That's the whole point. You're changing your mind and updating your opinion. That is the scientific process. That's actually the process of being a robust, normal functioning human. Otherwise you're what? Stuck in your ways? Is that normal? How do we do that in a way that progresses ourselves as a society? How do we do that in a way that gets the best possible outcome? I don't know the answer to that, but that's my challenge to you. All right, have a good night, everyone. I'd love to hear your feedback. Goodbye from beautiful Tyro.